Hey folks, this is Red Labor here. I want to talk about my political obsession, and that is the need for a viable Labor Party. Now, since most people know me, they're like, "Oh, there you go again, Melvin. You're talking about this Labor Party, pie in the sky. You need to just get with the program, and if you really want to see social change become a reality, you're going to have to work with the Democrats, meaning that you're going to have to work with conservative elements within the Democratic Party that you may not want to work with." Well, for those that have delusions that the Democratic Party is a catalyst for positive, progressive change, hey, have at it. Wish you the best of luck. I used to be one of those people. I even used to be a part-time Democrat, and now I don't really view the Democratic Party as a viable vehicle for the left. And I'm going to go into some reasonings on these things and misnomers that the broader political public has about the Democratic Party. And maybe I should address that first with regard to the broader political public. Contrary to what the contemporary right will tell you, the Democratic Party is not a socialist party. It is not a social democratic party. It is not a labor party. I would even venture to say that it might not even be all that much of a liberal party. And the thing about it is that the Democratic Party, even though it is not those things that I just mentioned, it operates as a default center-left grouping because we have an entrenched two-party system, and since the two political parties in this country, the Republicans and the Democrats, they are fairly conservative entities. It just so happens to be that the Democratic Party may be slightly less conservative than the Republican. So, to make progressive change happen, there are social progressive forces that works within the Democratic Party, hoping to see these reforms transpire. I would venture to say that maybe at one time, from the New Deal on to maybe the 1980s, that trying to transform the Democratic Party into something more than what it was institutionally and shifting it further left might have been possible. But the Democratic Party has shifted, even though the unions tend to support Democrats, the Democratic Party really do not, as a general rule, are kind of bothered by unions. I don't mean the Democratic Party up north and in the Midwest. They're pretty good to the unions. But I'm talking about, if you go down here to the South, I mean, the Democrats are not really any better than Republicans when it comes to right-to-work laws and the Taft-Hartley Act. Down here in the South, even when you have a Democratic governor and a Democratic legislature, they don't do anything to repeal right-to-work. And how is that left wing? So anybody who talks about the Democratic Party are beholden to the interests of the labor movement in this country, I wish that was the case. And I wish that the AFL-CIO could be brave enough to realize that they're being had not just by Republicans, but by many Democrats as well. And realistically speaking, there's not going to be any major transformative social change in this country until the labor movement makes a very, very hard, big decision. So but I need to correct a misnomer about the Democrats. The Democratic Party, as I said, is not a socialist party. It was created as an agrarian populist party. eventually they embrace some pro-labor concepts during FDR's New Deal time period, and glad I am that they did this sort of thing. It did get us out of the Great Depression. And Great Society continued on the New Deal. Part 2 of human justice social justice becoming fully realized with civil rights for all Americans. But that was the great last hurrah as far as the Democratic Party taking a turn toward being a political party based on social justice. After the McGovern defeat in 1972, there were forces in the Democratic Party that decided not again, and they started shifting away to the point where if you had the political positionings in the late 80s, throughout the 1990s to the very present, of someone, let's say like former Vice President Hubert Humphrey, you were hardcore leftists. Whereas, back from the New Deal all the way up to about 1972, Hubert Humphrey and people like Hubert Humphrey were considered in the middle of the American political system. They were the center, and I don't mind the center when the center are actually good forward-thinking progressives. And but today, by today's standards, Hubert Humphrey wouldn't be considered politically all that much different from Bernie Sanders. That's not Bernie Sanders' fault. It's not Hubert Humphrey's fault. It's the fault of the right drawing a new line to define where the left-right divide takes place. And the Democratic Party seems to be very enthusiastic when the middle of the political discourse is over here. Democrats are on one side, the Republicans are on the other side, and the Republicans, they will shift everything further to the right, and draw the new political line. And when with that drawing line, the Democrats to see that new drawing line, and they jump toward that drawing line, and they engage in a Me Tooism mentality. Me too, but not as extreme as how you guys do it. So that's how the Democrats operate. Anybody who really thinks the Democratic Party has shifted to the left during the times of Barack Obama, they are sadly mistaken. Barack Obama is politically closer to Joe Lieberman than he is Dennis Kucinich. I can promise you that. Which means that he's not that far removed from being like George W. Bush or Rudy Giuliani. And how sad that is, really. So, when I see the Democratic Party enthusiastically embracing the new left-right divide being defined by the modern-day Republican Party, it's like, well, gee, do you really blame those on the left that embraces Ralph Nader's campaigns in the past? So, I think it would be a great idea if the AFL-CIO and all the other major unions in this country come to the conclusion we're being had by the Democrats. Democrats get in power. They give us corporate insurance-friendly health care instead of single-payer or a health care system with a strong public option. They go and embrace free trade when they kind of promise to protect American jobs and protect our domestic jobs here. When environmentalists are not truly listened to, or when those who are active civil libertarians seeing torture over there in Guantanamo be outsourced to Yemen, is that any step toward justice? When we had a certain presidential candidate promising to withdraw from Iraq, why do we still have troops in Iraq? Why do we still have troops in Afghanistan? And why are we probably going to end up going to war with Iran? Because it's not going to matter after November who wins. there's going to be an inevitable invasion of Iran, and it will be done either by the next administration, whether it's the Obama administration if it's reelected, or by the Romney administration. It is inevitable. So we need a Labor Party, folks. And this is how it started in other countries. You know, all these political parties affiliated with the Socialist International, the various Democratic Socialists, Social Democratic, and Labor parties. They decided that they were not going to go and accept crumbs off the tables of the large liberal parties at the time. And they were like, we're going to go on it on our own. And that's what they did. The unions got involved with it, and the people got the social progressive forces got involved with it, and socialist organizations and gotten involved with it, and they have created these massive labor and social democratic and democratic socialist political parties, and these political parties have delivered the goods. So I will use an example of our neighbors to the north, the Canadians. In 1932, they knew that the Liberal Party was not going to do anything for them, so the unions and the social progressive forces got together and they founded the Cooperative Commonwealth Federation, which were renamed the New Democratic Party of Canada in 1961. And the New Democratic Party, as a large third party, have majorly and fundamentally transformed Canada. And now they're the opposition party because the Liberals stood for nothing for so long. The NDP grew, and now they're in position to win the next election and have their first federal government ever. And isn't it wonderful if you're a leftist in Canada these days? In spite of Stephen Harper's right-wing Tory government, in spite of that government, you had the New Democratic Party in opposition, ready to take over. And you know what? It makes those Tories nervous. And I look forward to seeing an NDP government get elected in Canada. And we should do the same thing. I mean, the labor unions and the social progressive forces in this country should get together and say, you know, we're tired of war, we're tired of insurance companies and corporate entities having too much of a say in what goes on in our political lives. And you know, and so have a Labor Party, a political party that stands up for working people, stands up for the disenfranchised, and say, hey, we have a voice. And I can guarantee you, if the progressive social forces in this country and the labor movement can get together and form such a movement, in the long run, we will see that return of the middle class come back to America. And when I think of a Labor Party, I think of America's return to our middle class. So, my fellow leftists, seriously, think about this. Think about it. In the words of Eugene Victor Debs, he said, I'd rather vote for what I want and not get it rather than to vote for what I want and get it. And those are words you need to think about. And believe me, what Eugene Debs had to say has more merit 100 years ago in today's political climate than, you know, what some slick pundits and spin doctors in the political party machines have to say today. So let's do it, folks. Let's get a Labor Party together as soon as possible. And let's do to America what Prime Minister Clement Attlee and his British Labour Party did for the people of Great Britain in 1945. Thank you.